What is going on, guys? My name's Dayton and welcome to the MushLoven channel. Just want to thank all you guys who've joined up on this channel recently. Showing your guys' support, smashing that like button, commenting down below. It really means a lot. It really helps the channel and really means a lot to me. So thank you all for continuing to do that. Let's try to set a goal for this video of 150 likes. That would really help. It would really mean a lot if we could hit that milestone, so let's try to hit that. So in this video today, we're going to talk about like beginner mistakes and issues that you could find yourself in if you're new to mushrooms. Now when I made this channel, this is the kind of videos that I kind of wanted to focus on, because I've been going on forums for a bit now and I'm kind of blown away by the stuff I see almost daily. I hear about crazy, ridiculous trips almost once a week, like really, really bad trips, and all could be avoided if they just did some research, if they just looked into what they're doing it, treating the mushrooms with more respect and just being more responsible and adult about the whole process. Many people use it for fun, and that's how a lot of people got into it. That's how I first got into it. But this is not something you should be messing around with and taking it to the extremes because you think you're tough or something, and it can end really bad. And I want to just help people avoid all those issues, because you really don't want to end up like that, because it can really mess you up. And I've heard some stories where they're still messed up months later and it really affected their life, and it all could have been avoided if they just did it with more respect and more responsibly and not get ridiculous with it. So let's just jump right into some of these mistakes, and maybe it can help clear things up for people out there who aren't really knowledgeable about this stuff, interested, and maybe they don't do the research and stuff. Maybe they'll watch my video, maybe it'll help them. So first big mistake is not weighing your mushrooms. This is such a huge important thing. I always say if you're going through the hassle to go out and acquire these, you should go and acquire yourself a weigh scale, so you know exactly how much you're taking and you can actually do it responsibly, not just be like, oh, I think that's enough. Like I literally see on some forums where people are posting like, here's a pile of mushrooms, should I eat this? And it's like, we have no idea how much that weighs. We have no idea what kind they are. These are very important things to know. You can't just, well, that looks like it's enough, and just pop and be like, oh, I hope I didn't take way too much, and then just start tripping balls. Or someone just posted today in a forum where they just had a cup of water or something, and they're making like a juice mixture with it. And it was just a random amount of mushrooms. And they said, how potent is this? And I didn't weigh it. So it's like, there's no way possible to tell how potent that is. If you didn't weigh it, then it's just a mystery. And then you're just hoping you don't have a bad time. So weigh scales literally cost like $15 on Amazon for a good weigh scale. You want the 2-point decimal ones that really weigh them to a very precise amount, so you can know exactly what you're taking. And this kind of leads into the next mistake that I see people doing and having issues with, which is doing too much or too little. So you may be saying, wait, you can do too little? And that's true. So as many people are aware, microdosing is really big right now. That's like 0.1 to 0.3 grams, sometimes up to like 0.5. That would be called a microdose. So you're not really tripping on this amount. You do get like the benefits from being more focused, having more creativity, and just being on the ball. And a lot of people in tech use it. People with anxiety issues, depression, you're pretty much skipping the trip and getting some of the benefits from it. But there is a point when you go past the microdose and you're going towards like a regular dose. Right in between there is where like you also don't really want to be. And that's like 0.5 to probably like 0.8 or something like that. In between there can sometimes be very uncomfortable. It's like you don't really like break through and like have the trip fully start. You're kind of stuck in the anxiety, like uneasy in your own skin kind of feeling for too much, and you don't really get the benefit. Like you don't really start the trip off and like get rid of that. So I've heard from a lot of people that they don't like to do smaller amounts like that because it just seems like pointless. They don't get an actual trip from it. And it's too much for a microdose, and you just feel uneasy and like anxiety in your skin and shit. That's why normally people recommend like 1 to 1.5 grams for a beginner. That's just a simple, easy amount to ease them in so it's not overwhelming. At first, those doses are pretty chill trips, sometimes more laugh trips. Kind of better if you're socializing or doing it with a couple friends or something like that. If you're a beginner, then 2 grams is probably the max you would want to get up to. Like I always tell people, go low, go slow. You can always try a little bit more next trip, but it's better to just go low And don't take things too extreme. You got lots of time in the world. Don't worry about it. Don't feel like, well, I have to jump in this massive trip now. That's a really bad idea. So on the other side of things, people doing too much, I've heard on forums like, well, this is my first time. I'm going to do 4 grams or I'm going to do 3.5 grams and see how it goes. And it's a bad idea. Like, you don't know how you're going to react to the mushrooms. Maybe you've done other stuff too and maybe think you can handle it. I've heard of many people who couldn't handle it and they're just blown away and they're like, that was a really bad idea to do that amount. I should have took it slower. Definitely recommend going slow. And this also applies to if you've done it a few times. Do not just jump into it and be like, well, I've done 2 trips. Now I'm going to do 6 grams. Like, I literally hear about this story almost like once every week of someone who did it like 1 or 2 times and they thought they were like, you know, they could handle and they're, oh, well, I'm just going to do a massive dose now. I really want to see what it's like to trip balls. And they absolutely lose it. And when you get into those really high doses, you can lose all sense of reality. If you have underlying mental health issues, that could really bring it out. And I have recently, like just yesterday, heard of someone who did exactly that, took way too much, and now has mental health issues. But I'm seeing situations like this where they're doing like multiple times, like big doses with mixed with LSD sometimes. Like, these are just silly things to do. But they think it's totally fine because people on the internet said, oh yeah, just go ahead and do it. You need to be respectful of the mushrooms and you need to go about this responsibly. You can't just be like, well, I've done it a couple times, now I'm going to take some massive doses. Bad idea. A perfect example of this was someone did 6 grams. It was their, I think, second time. They were living with family in an apartment. They didn't tell the people that they were taking this. And all of a sudden they pretty much lost all sense of reality. Pretty much was going through like a psychotic episode, thought their family members was demons and stuff, attacked them. And then when they came to reality, they realized what they did and their life was just messed straight up. That's the kind of thing that can happen if you don't take this responsibly and you're getting silly about it all. Also, a thing I just mentioned and want to touch on is the mistake of listening to random people on the internet who are just giving you bad advice, or just friends and stuff who don't really know themselves and they're just like, and they say stuff like, oh yeah, you need a big amount to try it for the first time so you really feel it. Or just giving them bad advice all around, like, oh yeah, just do whatever, who cares? And these people probably don't even care about that person, they don't care about the situation they might end up in. Just yesterday I talked to someone who went through something like that and they said people on the internet told them that it was totally fine to do large amounts with LSD, being very new to it and stuff, and it really messed them up. I've said this for years now, it is very important to do your research. Go online, research it for a few days before you even jump into it. Don't just get some and then, oh, I'm just going to take it now and see what happens. No. Definitely go and start doing research. If this video is the first video, then that's awesome, but definitely go watch a bunch more. If you want to see things to avoid, then forums can really show you what to avoid, because a lot of people will post their bad experiences and it's like, well, I'm definitely not doing that, and it kind of helps you like avoid that kind of stuff. So another mistake I want to touch on that kind of deals with the taking too much thing, what is known in the psychedelic scene as the heroic dose, which is coined by Terence McKenna, one of the like main guys in the mushroom movements who passed away, I believe 20 years ago or something like that. He's referred to as one of the legends in the movement, and he said to experience a full trip, one needs to do 5 grams in complete silent darkness by themselves and just experience the trip through their mind. No noise, no nothing, no TV, using 5 grams of dried cubensis. Now, many agree with him that like that's one of the ultimate experiences to go for, but not many people really talk about how this is not something you should take lightly and not something you should jump into very fast. Like I've heard of people saying, oh, I've tried it 2-3 times, now I want to do a heroic dose and see what that's like. That is a terrible idea. I personally think that the spreading of it, making it look kind of cool, the romanticizing I see from it on different places on the internet is kind of gets a little ridiculous and puts people in a bad situation that they should have took it much slower. I believe that's something you should really work up to, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, where you slightly increase and like, you know, find the levels that work for you and like you're not pushing yourself. This stuff is no joke and not something you should just jump in to it just because the main guy in the movement said it's the thing to do. I've personally seen multiple people have major issues doing this, and it doesn't always turn out like you know, a fantastic, wonderful experience. and it definitely isn't for everyone. It's also important to note that when Terence McKenna was promoting this near the end of his life, he actually had a really, really, really bad trip and the mushrooms turned on him and he just never did them again. That can happen. Like, even if you're the master of it, that shit can happen. The mushrooms can turn on you and they can give you what I call a psychological bitch slapping. And when people are going in these massive doses, this is where you need to be aware of unearned knowledge. Knowledge that could just be given to you, such as like the world's gonna end, such as like, oh, this person's a demon now. And by unearned knowledge, when people start like hearing voices and the voices are telling them things, or they have knowledge that something is gonna happen in the future, or they think people are demons and stuff. Things like this. Knowledge that just comes out of nowhere, and you think, oh, that's how everything works now, and oh, the mushrooms told me that these people are this or that, or that's the kind of stuff you got to watch out for. Because the issue is, once you start believing that unearned knowledge, psychosis can follow. And that stuff is no joke to be messed around with. Another mistake that people run into is not doing it in a proper set and setting. If you're not in like a good mood, or maybe you just went through like a breakup or something, or maybe family issues, or something with lots of stress and drama, and you want to do mushrooms during that time, it's probably a really bad idea, and I probably wouldn't recommend it. So you need to think about the situation you are in, your body and mind, and the situation you're in, your setting. Like, are you in a good setting? Are you in your home, nice and calm? Or are you just walking around a town or a chaotic city or something? Or are you taking it at a party with a bunch of drunk people all around you? Many bad trips can be avoided just by being in the proper place and setting, and it being nice and calm, and you being familiar with your environment. This is all can really help, especially being in a good mood, being ready for the trip, ready to take it on. All these things are very important. Another one that gets newbies a lot is not knowing how to take it. So I personally, when I first started, I have projectile vomited a few times where I just tried to eat them raw, and then my body's like, nope, and just start blowing chunks. So personally, what I've seen, the best ways are capsules, gelatin capsules that you can get at health food stores, or make it into a tea where you steep it in the tea for about 10-15 minutes and drink it. These are probably the best ways if you have stomach issues or you easily get nauseous. A lot of people get a bit nauseous when they first take it for about the first hour or so. Many people get a little nauseous around maybe the first 30 minutes to an hour. That's usually the time when you feel it a little bit. Me, when I take the capsules now, I don't really feel it at all, which is really nice compared to before where I've had it with food. It's really not a good idea to eat it with food at all. You don't want to be eating actually any food, because that really messes with the digestion of it. And also, with that being said, you want to be like at least 4 to 3 hours where you didn't eat anything. I usually like to have a nice decent meal 3 to 4 hours beforehand. So by the time you're going to take it, you're not full, but you're not like starving. When I'm really in that hungry mode, I can sometimes get a little nauseous if I didn't eat for a while. And that really was a bad idea. One time where I tried, I'm going to fast for a while, and that was a really bad idea because I just blew chunks everywhere. Then I learned it's better to just eat 3 to 4 hours beforehand. Don't eat anything after that, then take it. So I think that is it. We're going to wrap it up for this video, guys. Hope you guys got some knowledge out of this. Hope this info helps some people out there. And like I always say, always keep researching and be more informed of what you're actually getting into, because it'll help you avoid these bad situations that you really don't want to get yourself into. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you all for watching. Remember, go low, go slow. And until next time, peace out and catch you guys later.